Okay, this is another Tuesday, which means it's time for another team prosperity training. We go into different components of our business model, different things that are happening in the industry. We go through professional development, whatever we need to touch upon on that week to help you build your book of business, build your agency development, build your distribution, and build your business as an asset that you can walk away from that will still perform without your day-to-day activity. We always like to review what we did last week. Last week was Veterans Day, so we didn't have a meeting in honor of Veterans Day, but all of the back recordings are in the Agency in Motion playlist on the YouTube channel. They're also in the Facebook group as well, and each week they're emailed out to you after we're done. So this week we're going to get into something that is a make or break for your business. It's the power of communication, and that's the flow, opening, continuing, and directing communication. We're in a contact business, but you can't just be in the contact business. You've got to be an influence in that contact business as well. So it's not about just talking to people, it's about influencing and directing people. We're going to go through that today, how to do it, why it's important, and what's the framework to follow so that you know that you're the one in charge in the communication and conversation and you are following this framework and pattern versus just having a conversation that goes in random directions with no framework and no real end destination or endpoint. So this right here is one of the most important skills that you'll ever master in your business. It's the art of communication. This is what separates those from who just talk to people from those who influence, convert, and lead. So it's definitely important that you strike up conversations, but it's as important, or if not more important, to understand that you're in charge of that conversation and you're the one that's influencing, converting, and leading that conversation through different steps, ultimately to a call to action or an endpoint that you've designed for yourself. Have you ever had a conversation where you everything felt real good? This is going awesome, but then nothing came from it. Well, the reason is communication breakdown. And this happens because there's no flow or there's no direction. It's just a conversation. Like when I get on the phone and I'll talk to my family or friends, there's no framework, right? Just we're just kind of talking. You have to separate those social conversations from your business conversation. Today, we're going to break down the three stages of effective communication that help you build trust, uncover needs, and move people into action. Remember, as a business owner, as an agent, you want one thing. You want the other side to take the action step. So we're going to do everything we can in the communication to set that up properly so that the right people are taking the action steps and the wrong people are either being disqualified by you or they're disqualifying themselves. We call it opening, continuing, and directing. So opening is about capturing attention and building connection. You have just that few seconds to really hook somebody in. And we're going to talk about that. But after you open the conversation, you have to continue it. And this is keeping engagement and deepening the conversation that ultimately leads to directing of the conversation. And what that means is confidently guiding that person to the next step. Now, like we just mentioned, if somebody can't fall into your framework and they can't do these things, it's just a red flag and a red card. They've been disqualified. So this will help you create a framework and understand who's serious about what you have to offer or what you're trying to offer them, and who may be just maybe a window shopper or a looky-loo or along those lines. The framework applies to all of your business. It's your clients, your prospects, your referral partners, and even teammates. So once you learn this framework and once you master the art of the communication, continuing or opening, continuing, and directing, you can use it across all areas of your business and it works in every single area. The same exact framework can be applied to every area of your business. Just stages, right? You're just pushing people through stages. Stage one, stage two, stage three, opening, continuing, directing. That's all you're doing continuously. And then once you get used to doing this, like everything else that we do, maybe hard or maybe even uncomfortable at first, but then once you get it down, it becomes second nature and it becomes very, very easy and it's routine and it's easy to follow. And then don't forget, once you get this down for yourself, you can teach your other agents. That helps with distribution, that helps with agent retention, that helps with production. So everything we're teaching can be passed down to create that agency and network and national distribution you're looking for. Opening. this is it's a make or break, right? Because this is creating curiosity and the connection. The open end is where you hook their attention or you lose it, right? You have one shot to show up with confidence and create curiosity. Same thing, you guys get that online commercials, all these things. They have a very limited window period of time to gain your attention and hook you in, or the whole thing's lost. Doesn't matter what they say down the road. If they haven't captured your attention up front, it's fallen on deaf ears. So here's what a strong opening does. It establishes why this conversation matters. And it's not just about you needing to talk to people. You need to understand and be able to relay over to the other side why the conversation matters. You need to create a natural human connection. Don't make it feel like some sales presentation or pitch or anything like that. Once you get the framework down, it becomes easier. Then you want to make it seem almost seamless, natural, human. You might not, you might feel robotic in the beginning, but it will become more natural. And then it will be felt more natural on the other side. And then the opening also sets the tone for you to lead. Someone is going to control this conversation. Is it going to be you? That's who it needs to be. If it's not you, it's the other side. Then who knows what happens to the conversation if you lose control? So opening is where you establish why the conversation matters. Let me let this person in. It also creates that natural human connection, sets the tone for you to lead. Keys to a strong opener. Remember, if you've only got this limited time to hook people in, confidence and energy in your voice. Remember, people are buying into you, your energy, your confidence before they're buying into really what you're talking about. So you are the front line, the front door. Start with value or insight. Don't start with pitching, selling, recruiting. Remember, value-based propositions on the front side that makes sense to the persona that you're talking to. Easiest way, guys, ask a question that gets a yes or invites curiosity. You can do yourself a great favor by talking less and asking more questions. When you learn to do that, and if you can really, if you get the other side talking 70% of the time, that's a good leading indicator in the beginning because they're giving you information. We talked about the pyramid of influence. That information they give you by you asking questions and follow-up questions is exactly what you need to do to handle the rest of this. Continue and direct the conversation. So ask questions, and then when you identify pain points or goals, follow-up questions, right? Pro tip here, don't sound scripted, but always be intentional. I hope you guys understand the difference in that. You have a framework that you're following, but don't sound robotic, don't sound scripted, but you always want to be intentional in what you say and what you do. Everything I try to do, my text messages, my emails, my phone conversations, they have an objective or a goal to it. What am I trying to do when I send out this text? What would I like to happen? Everything you do should have a goal behind it. It helps you measure, is this working or is this not? And then once you spark that curiosity, the other part is just building the connection and then setting the tone. So, hey, real quick, I've been working families to help them beat the banks at their own game. Can I show you how that works? You can't instill curiosity in somebody. You can't instill the appetite to learn about this stuff, but you can identify the people who do have a curiosity and ability and a yearning to learn this stuff. And then that's who the people you want to bring into the mix or the ecosystem and give them access to the information that will ultimately create buying decisions. So proposition questions on the front side, no long scripts. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Can I show you how it works? Do you know someone trying to get ahead financially but feels stuck with debt or taxes? I've got something powerful to show them. Real easy, guys. You're just asking people, either directly or indirectly, does this have any value for them? Most people have no idea they're overpaying on debt, interest, and taxes. Have you ever run a custom report to see what you could save and how much you're actually sending to the bank every month? This is stuff that people need to know. Their two biggest expenses are taxes and interest on the debt they pay. Most people don't have any idea. Oh, what's your biggest expense? Oh, it's my mortgage. Is it? No, it's your taxes and it's the interest that you pay on the debt, most Americans. So once you understand that, it's easier to help people, fix that. And once they start to understand, oh, those are my biggest expenses. Yeah, I need to learn about this. And unfortunately, if they don't want to learn about that, they're the bank's best customer. And that's the worst position to be in. If you're like DMing or text message openers, quick question. If I could cancel all your debt in as little as 5 to 7 years without changing your loan, lifestyle, budget, you want to know how to do that. Proposition questions, right? Jab communication. This is all we're doing. I'm working on a financial campaign helping homeowners free up thousands in hidden costs. Want to see what your numbers look like. I mean, somebody serious probably should. Now, a lot of people have fixed mindsets and they answer no to everything. Even though something could help them, they answer no to. Unfortunately, you can't help those people. You identify your persona, craft messages that resonate with that persona that have them raise their hand, and you go out and find that persona where they are, whether it's websites, whether it's magazines, whether it's physical locations, and you get in front of those people. If it's business partner recruiting, hey, we're helping agents earn more by combining smart financial tools with powerful life insurance strategies. You open and checking it out. So you're propositioning people to learn something. If they don't want to learn, can't help somebody that doesn't want to learn. And then after we hook them in, we're going to continue the conversation, not continue in just random directions. This is keeping engagement and providing value. This is going to set up the next stage for you. It's all designed to be very systematic and framed in a way that keeps you in control, keeps it moving down the pipeline, and qualifies or disqualifies continuously. So now you've opened the door. Now what? The goal in this phase is to keep them engaged while you uncover one of two things: a goal, a pain point, a desire. And then what do? You follow up on that. When you get a pain point, you just don't gloss over it. Oh, that's too bad. It's like a knife in a wound. You got to understand and help them understand this pain is not going to go away unless you create a plan of action execution to remove the pain, right? So, this is where most agents either do one of two things that's going to kill the conversation: talk too much. That is a conversation killer. And they're going to overwhelm somebody and they're just going to paralyze, shut down, and want to end the conversation as soon as possible. Or they do the 180-degree opposite, which is freeze up. They don't know what to say next. Both is going to kill the conversation and put the other person in charge and control of the conversation. Once you lose control of the conversation, very, very hard to get it back. So, keys to continuing well: questions. You're going to see this come up time and time and time again. Ask questions. Be good at asking questions, just like a blind date. If you're a guy and you go on a blind date, you just have to ask a bunch of questions, right, to get through the blind date, learn about the person. Same thing here. What are your financial goals right now? And then be quiet. Somebody should have a financial goal. If they don't have a financial goal, they're in trouble. If you have no goals, then you're never going to get anywhere. You're just going to drift, right? So you are looking for people who have financial goals. Do you feel like you're making progress with your debt, with your retirement, whatever it is, what it might be? Why do we lead with debt conversations a lot? Because debt is already something somebody has. It's become a burden, a stress point. If you can help them understand and learn how to remove that debt, now you've got their ears for whatever else that you're going to talk about. So remove the stress point or burden, then introduce everything else that you have to offer. If you get in front of somebody and you start talking about something that's not important to them, conversation's over. Acknowledge their answers. So it's not just enough to ask those open-ended questions. You gotta, acknowledge their answers. That makes sense. Hey, you're definitely not alone in that. I talk to a lot of people in that same situation. So you ask open-ended questions, you acknowledge their answers. Now, if it's pain points, you want to dig in a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Why is that so pressing for you right now? I mean, it's not enough, right? Just to get the pain point, you got to dig in a little bit further. So after you ask that open-ended question, you acknowledge their answer, then you're going to bridge the offer. That's exactly why we start with a custom savings report. So you can see where you are right now, what's possible, and how to get there. Let me show you what our clients are doing to fix that. So you haven't introduced anything, right? No products or services. We've introduced a savings report and a strategy on how to fix that. That's what you want to introduce. That's what the offer is. It's a way to get to the goal or a way to avoid the pain point without directly talking about the product or service that you might be interjecting in that strategy or solution. So this is building rapport, discovering needs, and providing value. Remember, continuing the conversation after we've opened and hooked them. What's your biggest financial focus right now? Paying off debt, saving more, building for the future? That's a question. It demands an answer. If somebody can't answer that, it's a red flag leading indicator. They're not going to be a good prospect, and they're never going to be a good client. Do you feel like your money is working as hard for you as it should, or do you feel like your money's working as hard as you're working for it? Most people don't. And then what would you do? You would bridge that. You would acknowledge and you would bridge that, right? So, what kind of financial freedom would you want to create if money wasn't in the way? Remove money sometimes because money is a big obstacle and a barrier for people. Hey, if money wasn't in the picture, what do you want to do? What do you want to create for your life? And then you teach them how money is the tool to actually get there. Have you ever heard of the strategy the bank used to multiply their money using the same exact dollar more than once? These are all just discovery questions. It should, for the right prospect, create some type of curiosity and a desire to learn more about it. Educating and reframing. Most people don't realize they pay 2 to 3 times more than original debt due to interest. We help eliminate that without refinancing, without changing your loans, your budget, your lifestyle, any of this stuff. So when you're talking to people, if you paid $250,000 for a house and that house later sells for 400,000, most people think they made 150,000. But if you end up paying, through the course of the life of that, 5 or 6 plus $100,000, you didn't really make money on that. So you have to make people understand a lot of what's taught is taught to them so the banks can take advantage of them. This just isn't about budgeting harder. It's about positioning your money smarter so it works for you. The banks are making money off you either way. We teach you how to flip the script and take the bank's position. Who do you want to be? You want to be the homeowner or you want to be the bank? You want to be the player or you want to be the casino? Most people want to be the bank and the casino. So you teach people how to take that position and then soft bridges to the next step. That's exactly why we run a savings report. It shows you exactly how much money you could free up and how fast it can get done. And then you go into the next action step. I got time Thursday or Friday, these 2 times. What works better for you, right? And we're going to talk about that in the directing stage in just a minute. I love to walk you through our 2-step process. It's how clients are creating passive income while canceling debt. If somebody's interested in learning that, you probably have a good prospect. Remember, guys, you have to listen. In the continuing stage, this is the moment where you're probably listening more than you're speaking. And like I said, if you get that other side talking, that's a good leading indicator that something positive is going to happen. Now, it doesn't mean that necessarily you're taking them to the next action step, and maybe you disqualify them, but at least you're resolving the leads. You don't want to create a bunch of leads and just chase them around with no outcomes. It's your job to create leads and resolve leads. And through that process, we understand the model we have will address enough of their needs, pain points, and goals to monetize it, 2, 3 times. Directing. This is where it all comes down. And this is where most agents, if you're on the phone with somebody 15, 30, on a meeting within 45 minutes, what is the extra 30 or 45 seconds max a minute to schedule the next meeting? If you get off that, and I've done this before, I get upset with myself. If you've been on the meeting with them or you've been on the phone with them, schedule the next action step. Don't leave it up to, hey, I'll send you my calendar link, find a good time. Now you're chasing that person when you should have done the end of the job, which is to schedule them for the next meeting. So directing is where all this comes together. It's the last steps, third step, leading towards the next step. What are we trying to do? And guys, just like we talked about the texts, the emails, the phone calls earlier, you have to have an objective. Where are you trying to take this conversation? The directing is where it's going. Here's the most important thing. Great conversations are useless if they don't go anywhere. You can strike up a conversation, feel like there's some synergy there, but they're useless if they don't go anywhere. So you have to direct the next action step. You're in control of the conversation. That might mean scheduling discovery calls, sending them a video, booking their savings report, introducing them to the business opportunity. Whatever it is, tell them what the next action step is and go ahead and either schedule it, direct them, whatever it is. Don't leave it open to them. You want to be proactive, making things happen instead of waiting for things to happen, which is reactive. So here's how to direct. Summarize the conversation. Hey, from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like freeing up more monthly cash flow is really, really important to you right now. Is that correct? Great. Let's get you a custom savings report scheduled. Takes about 30 minutes. What works for you? Or I'll send you a quick video that breaks this down. I'll text it to you. If you're talking to somebody on the phone and you want to send them a video and it's a 1 minute or 2 minute video, text it to them. Let them know this is a very short explainer video. Watch it. I'll call you back in about 4 minutes. What are you doing? You're compressing time frames and you're getting to the outcome of that lead much quicker than if you left it over. Hey, I'll send you the video. Maybe I'll follow up with you tomorrow at an unknown time. You're probably not going to answer. I'll leave you a voicemail, text you again, and we'll play that game for another week or two until I give up. That's not what you're going to want to do. Take control of your conversations and compress time frames to get the outcomes quicker. So the directing example is here you lead clearly, right? And confidently to the next step, setting the appointment. Hey, from what you're telling me, let's get you a custom savings report so we can see what's possible. What's better, mornings or afternoons? Hey, from what you're telling me and what we've been talking about, sounds like you benefit from seeing our strategy in full. I'll text you a quick 2 minute video. I'll text it to you now, and I'm going to follow up with you in about 4 minutes, give you a chance to watch it. Discovery call to action. The next step is very easy. We'll hop on a quick strategy call to see where you are and what we can do to help you. What's a good time? Closing with clarity. So to recap, we're going to run the savings report. I'll walk you through the numbers, then we'll review a plan to cancel your debt, start building wealth. Cool? So when you get down to the closing and when you get down to the directing part of the conversation, make sure that you close with clarity. You're framing everything. You're like kind of reviewing everything, how we got up to this point, what we're going to do next, why we're doing it, and why it matters. Be more confident, guys. Be confident and assumptive. People are looking for leadership, whether it's a client, whether it's a partner. They're looking for leadership. So don't end up with the conversation ending like this. So, what do you think? What do you think we should do next? Because that's terrible. That you've done most of your job and you got to the end and you just abandoned. It's like you ran the whole entire race, but you got close to the finish line, you just jet off to a 90-degree angle. Hey, I'm done. I'm just going to leave. Whatever you think. What do you think we should do next? Instead, say, here's what we're going to do next. Don't ask questions. If you're going to lead somebody, you're not asking them what you think you should do. You're telling them what we're going to do next. This is how to use the action. So this is the bonus tip, the flow in action. So let me just if you were talking to somebody, hey, if I could eliminate all your debt in a fraction of the time without changing your loans, your budget, your lifestyle, you want to know how? Continue. What's your current strategy for paying off your mortgage and other debts? Direct. Let's get you a free custom savings report so you can see your savings and timeline possibilities. I've got availability Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. What works better? Get it down. Remember, if we're using a savings report as an example, a savings report tells you what's possible. So who needs a savings report? Anybody that's serious about trying to beat the banks and win the money game and cancel out interest and put themselves at the head of the table. So when you're leading with value and backing up with value, you should be very, very confident in what you have to deliver because what you're doing is you're giving people eye-opening reports or eye-opening strategies or solutions that will help them create a financial end outcome that they desire with a legit path to get there. Practice ideas, guys. I encourage you to take this and practice. Craft your 1 to 2 go openers. We're all different. We have different personalities. We have different personas we're going after. So really think about what are your 1 to 2 go-to openers and practice with them. Write out 3 or 4 discovery questions and then memorize 1 to 2 next step directions that you can use in your conversations next week. If you guys can remember in school when we had to write papers, you have the outline, you have the Roman numerals with the main sections, and you have the letters with the subsections, and then once you get your outline, you write the paper. That's the same thing here. All I'm trying to do is provide an outline or a framework for you guys and understand you have your opening, continuing, and directing. Within each of those main topics or sets is the subsets of what you need to master. Once you do all this, it's just about sorting people, and your business becomes very, very easy. So the recap and action steps. Opening builds the bridge, continuing uncovers the opportunity, directing leads to the results. This is the formula to turn more conversations into appointments, partners, clients, and sales. Pick one area, guys, this week, and especially going into the holidays. This is a great time to work on some of this stuff, have your family, as a sounding board for practice. Remember, even though your warm market may be somebody you ask for help, you're still getting them information. They might be interested. You're just going through another route or an alternative lane to get them the information by asking for their help. So pick one area you need to improve, whether it's opening, continuing, or directing, and then work on language and use it every day this week. Practice makes perfect, right? And then practice also takes the uncomfortable and creates the comfortable out of it. And then once you do that, it's a lot easier. And then once you've trailblazed this path, you can teach other people how to do it. Words create momentum, guys. When your communication has flow, people follow you. Master this, and you'll never be stuck wondering what to say or where a conversation should go. You'll be leading that every step of the conversation and every step of the way. This is how we make it happen. This is how we go from just talking randomly to people to actually leading people, influencing people, and creating conversations that have a defined framework that lead to outcomes in a compressed time frame so you can move through these people very, very, very quickly.